This week's news from the tubes and F5 Live is proudly powered by Malwarebytes. Whether you use a PC, a Mac, or a mobile device, Malwarebytes Premium is the company's strongest protection ever. It fights threats that traditional antivirus software can't stop, and it covers worms, rootkits, exploits, bots, and a lot more. You can use your computer and mobile device with confidence and peace of mind. And to learn more and to get a special price, you can go to f5live.tv/malwarebytes. Facial identification. Everybody's favorite technology? Nope. The opposite of that. It's a technology that has faced a lot of backlash in recent years. Avram, you and I have talked about Clearview AI, a company that was providing facial identification for law enforcement who got hacked, which was not great. But Facebook has been using facial identification for a long time. In fact, their auto tagging feature launched 11 years ago, which is crazy to think. In that time, they have cataloged facial biometric data on over 1 billion individuals. And they use it publicly. They use it to, when you upload a photo, it says, hey, that might be Avram in that picture, is it? And then you can say yes, and then it'll tag Avram in the photo. We don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. It's Facebook, Meta. It's a company that we don't necessarily trust these days. But that's what we see it being used for publicly. Both Facebook and facial identification have a bad public image right now, and the solution that Meta has come up with is to discontinue the auto tagging feature and delete all the data on 1 billion individuals. I'm good with this move. I don't entirely know what their end goal is here. Obviously, there's been a lot of extra scrutiny on Facebook lately. There's been a lot of extra scrutiny on facial identification. Maybe they're trying to get out of it before laws get passed regulating it. I don't know. What do you think, Abram?
Yeah, I always found that feature creepy.
Yeah.
I always found that feature very, very creepy.
I hated it in particular when it was brand new, before they put safety features in place, which is how all Facebook features launch. I was getting tagged in photos from people I didn't know because they took a picture at like CES or a convention or something, and I'm in the background, and Facebook's like, hey, that's Scott, let's tag him. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, that's creepy. I think I recall that happening once to me, or me seeing that in a picture that I took where it's a stranger in the background. That is super creepy. But it's interesting because Facebook is certainly not alone in having this technology, and I wouldn't necessarily trust it just because they take away the front, they take away the public-facing version of this, that they're not doing it behind the scenes and storing that data. They might say that they're taking it away.
They have said that they've deleted all 1 billion people. Now, they've said lots of things. There's a whole category of fact checks just on Zuckerberg's congressional answers, but
right. So interestingly, and I guess you could call this like a good thing, but again, it's creepy, but it could be useful. I was going through my phone pictures in Google Photos, the Photos app that it comes preloaded in Android, with my 2-year-old daughter, letting her page through them and like see pictures of herself and whatever, and pictures of the family, and it shows up like people in this photo, and it showed her face, and like she tapped on her face, and we look at it, it's like unnamed person, because I haven't put her name in there, but it knew all of the photos that she was in. So it could tell consistently from, one photo to the next that this was the same person.
Yep.
So that seems a
My
lot like the same technology.
Windows Photos and Windows 11 does it too.
Yeah. So again, like, okay, it wasn't, as far as I know, it's not being shared across a network,
Right.
especially because Google has no social network. But, you know, if I
No,
put
but
our name in there, then Google has it,
they've got
right?
a pretty strong uh, database of metadata
Right? I
externally.
mean, right? I mean, those are photos that I haven't uploaded to the cloud, but I don't know if they are somehow storing the meta in the cloud or whatever.
Right. Right.
So again, like, they can easily identify the fact that she's been in all these all these different photos. What I didn't
Mm-hmm.
go through and check, and I actually should because I'd be really curious, is whether it um is whether it flags her baby picture. Like, she's 2 years old now, so she looks quite different than she did when she was, say, 3 months old. Um, I would be really curious if, although I don't think I have all her oldest pictures on this phone. So, I mean, locally on the phone or somewhere in the cloud. So, but it would be interesting to me to know if, how smart it was in terms of children, like being able to see, like, oh, this kid was like, look way different when they were like, you know 1 year old and when they were two and a half or whatever. Is it still flagging them as being the same person?
Right. That's actually an interesting experiment to run. Obviously,
um,
children change significantly in their early years,
or
but
or
but
take pictures of me.
that biometric data might be enough.
Yeah. So who knows? Like, I don't know how, facial recognition accounts for aging and things like that, but
Right.
um, it's creepy, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it was interesting that you could tap and, like, oh, look, these are all the pictures with her in it, but the convenience and the creepiness kind of bump up against each other.
Indeed, they
Anyway,
do.
my point was that Facebook is not at all alone in having technology that can do that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about Clearview AI. Microsoft had invested in a company called AnyVision, which they divested from, and yet now Microsoft Photos on Windows 11 has that same feature. Maybe the difference is that they're not storing that metadata off device. I don't know, but Microsoft was pretty excited about not being involved in that company anymore. And Amazon Web Services has got an API for it. I think Azure has an API for it. I mean, it's not a complicated technology today. So the way Facebook was using it, I didn't like, for sure, because obviously for sure that was public access kind of information, right? Because it's tagging people automatically across all kinds of stuff. I'm tagged in, if you go back to like SuperCon 2010 or Miami Comic Con Wizard World, um, I I can find real quick in my tagged photos photos from people I do not know, that were automatically tagged. Uh, that was not a great implementation of it, for sure. If it's living on device, if it's Google Photos or Microsoft Photos or whatever, and it's staying on device, okay, I'm I don't quite have the same problem with it. But the fact that every photo being uploaded to Facebook is Scott in this? Oh, and being so accurate about it, didn't like it. Glad that feature's gone, though I would like some sort of proof that what they said they're actually doing, because as I said, nobody trusts Facebook right now, or Meta, or however you want to look at them. Maybe people trust Meta, but not Facebook itself. I don't know. Uh, but it's certainly not a brand with great customer feelings. They're getting up there with Comcast and EA at this point for people disliking them. So I don't know. I'd like some proof that what they said they're doing, but I do like that that feature in particular will be no more. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.